Today, I want to talk to you about how falsehoods shape families and nations. In my last video, I got a little bit heated. I discussed how the church is being used to spread unchristian type ideologies. It aligns with how powerful interests, the tech bros and other billionaires, are using emerging technologies and social media to spread deceptive propaganda, blurring the lines of truth, all in their quest of power. And this misuse of our sacred text, it does not come without cost. And we all know that each lie carries a weight. Some lies start like a little white lie, something to cover up a poor swing on the golf course or a bad putt. But in the end, no lie is truly small. Whether it's told at a dinner table or a podium, each lie leaves a mark. Some of these marks will fade as time goes, but others will grow. They grow roots, quickly reshaping families, friendships, and entire nations. And lies, whether personal or political, they influence us. They influence who we become. They influence who we trust, and they influence who we don't trust. They create our reputation, and they determine our response. Some people in our circles will accept the lies that we tell, and they will accept them unconditionally, while others, might be harmed by cause and effect. Political lies now, these are strong because they come from above. They tear at the basic public trust. And when political leaders lie to us, it damages not just, the damage doesn't come in what is said, but it comes in what is lost. Trust, hope, our reputation, both as individuals, communities, and even as a nation, or faith in our system of government, in the voting system, in the Medicare, Medicaid system, and Social Security system. But these lies that are told on the political side, in the political spectrum, they're not misunderstandings. They are very strategic power plays. Attempts to demand submission at any cost. And we've heard them. We have all heard them. Lies about wars that never should have been fought, reshaping the blame for aggression in order to justify the killing and the pillaging of other countries, stealing of other countries' sovereignty, or claiming victory rights over wars to justify our political position. It's like how they're reframing this American Civil War. Very strategic. There are lies about elections that were never stolen. And this was all meant, very strategic lie, meant to rally supporters to violence, dividing the people as a result, dividing the nation as a result. That is a huge, huge problem because people have lost their lives and they were held accountable and then, told what they did was patriotic. What's the cost? The cost is trust in the system. One party steals or rigs and other is blamed. And the right to fair elections is stolen. It's stolen from our future. Some lies are about who deserves rights and who doesn't. The Constitution is clear. Anyone, any person on U.S. soil has the right to due process. It's in the Constitution. We care about the Constitution, right? Or is it just the Second Amendment that's important? Because we've attacked the First Amendment, we've attacked the Fourth Amendment, we've attacked the Fifth Amendment, Sixth Amendment, 14th Amendment. But we're creating this narrative through lies like they're eating our cats and dogs, a lie that is meant to dehumanize, to cause fear, to create anger. And it resulted in violence and the killing of multiple people. And now, the same type of lie and fear-mongering is used to attack those who came to America legally, went through the process legally, got their green stamp legally, but they're brown. It's not about illegals, this ICE thing. There's a lie for you. It is a hidden lie about racism. It's meant to profile. It's meant to justify acts of violence, inhumane treatment of others, and the stripping of constitutional rights by both American citizens and those who came to America. We have to be honest here, right? And most recently, we're hearing lies about lists that may or may not exist. We know it exists. We got the depositions. We've got over 2,000 individuals have come forward who have all been trafficked. Court cases were won. Art of discovery. The list has been seen. The photographs have been shared, but they're being held from the people. It does exist, despite the claims of the perpetrator who says it doesn't. We're putting faith in his lie over the lies, the statements, he's calling them lies, statements of over 2,000 other individuals. What do they all have in common? They were all 10, 11, 12, 13 years old at the time, and they're all female. The same people that they no longer want to vote. The law applies to everybody. No one's above the law, even with the immunity clause. It's very specific when you read into it. You cannot distort it. The law applies to everyone. However, this lie about the Epstein list is dividing the people into those who support pedophiles and pedophilia and those who are trying to protect the rights of the victims. It is about, it's no longer about justice. It's no longer about transparency. It is about the truth. It doesn't matter who's on the list. Not everyone on the list is a victim. Not everyone on the list is a perpetrator. But it is important that we know, we see, and the truth comes out. So many people believe the dramatic event shifting, the excuses and the denials, despite the photographs and the leaked documents and the unsealed depositions and the statements of victims. And these things all happened before this man rose to power. The other issue with this lie is he has the capability to turn the system against the people who are accusing him, to obstruct justice. And there's another cause and effect. We have lost faith in the system. We've lost faith in the judiciary. We've lost faith in the FBI. We've lost faith in these organizations that he has taken control of. Because it is obvious to everyone in the world, this obstruction that is occurring. And along with this lie, we hear lies about personal greatness. We're hearing lies about our nation's health care. We're hearing lies about political corruption. And there's two sides to this story. But we have press organizations, these rich individuals who are controlling the propaganda that is reaching us. One side of the story is being suppressed by these individuals that control the emerging technologies such as AI. So we don't even know the truth now. We even don't know the impact that these lies are going to have upon our rights to get vaccines, our rights for funding cancer research, our rights over our own bodily autonomy. We have entire groups in our communities whose rights are being stripped away right before our eyes. These lies are about control and stripping the rights of the vulnerable. They are. It is done to instill fear and submission. And many people believe without question what these people have to say. Because they have observations, because they have proof, proof that they have released to us in 2 weeks. It's always 2 weeks. Or they create a platform or platforms of misinformation. You can rename it whatever you want. It can self-identify as whatever it wishes. It's still a hub of propaganda. And this misinformation, it promotes their talking points with religious notations from so-called social media experts. Political falsehoods, well, they erode domestic and international trust and reputation, and all that impacts the lives of our business owners, healthcare managers, our investment bankers, people like the consumer, the retiree. And each time such a political lie is told, the people lose a little bit more of their voice. And when the truth finally does appear, the people have been conditioned not to recognize that lie. In fact, many people begin to trust the lie more than they do the truth. The lie often becomes the norm because of its repetition, the way it's promoted online. You do research and all you get are the right side of the story. You don't get the truth. You don't get the left. This repetition, it appeals to the people because it tells them what they want to feel or what makes them comfortable. And it also appeals to the people because of its viral nature. And this is how groupthink begins. We've discussed groupthink. Another reason a lie becomes more truthful. Those who believe it, they do not want to accept that they were wrong. They hope that they might still be right. And if, they lose the economic stability they once had, or they lose their Social Security, or that they're depending upon, or the medical care that they really need or will need, they're hoping that that lie will wind up being the truth and their benefits will be restored. They are hoping that they were not wronged by the individuals, the leaders that they put their trust in. Political lies, they divide us, they dehumanize us, and they're targeting the most vulnerable first. They go after the immigrant, they go after the poor. What we saw today, they're going after the homeless in DC. They go after the sick and the elderly or marginalized communities. They're not about creating solutions. They're about removing the problem. And if you remove the problem, put them into a private prison owned by what's the company? Geo? Something like that. And then they could be put into the fields to work in place of the migrant workers as slave labor for $1 a day. These people, the individuals that are being dehumanized and targeted, they rarely have the ability to push back. But they're being attacked. They're being removed from our view. And to drive this point forward to you a little bit more, I want you to think back to some of these slogans. Okay? They're taking our jobs. That's the classic. They do not believe what we believe. That was the attack on Muslims. They're threatening our way of life. That went after Black Lives Matters and blacks in the 50s and 60s. They're eating our cats and dogs. That's the Haitians. They're thinning the purity of our blood, anything that's brown or black. They're replacing us. We're now the minority. Stephen Miller's recent comment. We're only going after the criminals. But the criminals they're going after are the hard workers that we depend upon to keep this nation going. And they're coming for our guns now. They've been fighting that since, they've been saying that about Democrats for like 20 years. But some of us liberals love our guns. And then recently, there is no list. I'm not on the list. They made the list. It's Biden's fault. Clinton's on it. Obama and Oprah. I know more about windmills than anybody, and they're killing the whales. Such lies are not about protection. Such lies are not about, protecting the people, protecting the nation. They're not about national security. They're about creating an enemy of us versus them. And today we see immigrants, the LGBT communities, protesters, liberals, the press, people of color, they're all being painted as modern threats to the white way of life. And they are seeking ways of stripping our citizenship away. The harm of the lie will destroy this country, divide this country, bring shame upon this country, more so than it already has. But by dehumanizing others from the political podium, the government is now saying that such groups are no longer citizens. They're no longer neighbors. And this is how a society forgets its shared humanity. And soon we will see the creation of more concentration camps, except concentration camps that begin extinguishing lives. We are repeating the crimes of the 1930s and 1940s. Yes, history is repeating itself, and it's hidden by these lies. The same lies, similar lies, that were told to the German people in the 1930s. And it shows how what we say at the podium, it matters, and how it affects the lives of more than just the 1%. I spent 28 years as a geopolitical analyst. I studied this situation we find ourselves in this country very heavily. I am a subject matter expert in this area, and in 2005, I briefed the Joint Chiefs of Staff who told me I was wrong. They said my predictions were absurd, but they're coming to fruition. See, personal lies and political lies, they affect the lives of everyone around them. And they sneak up on us. Personal lies are no different. And they are admittedly, though, just as dangerous. They might not be as grand as they're eating the cats and the dogs, or there's no list, but they affect us. They affect the people closest to us. They erode our lives from within, this private circle, our smallest circle. And a small lie, like, I didn't do that and everything is fine and he's just a friend, can destroy quickly and quietly the emotional safety that's created in our relationships by instilling doubt. These little fibs, right, build silence and within the family because our relatives stop listening. Lies weaken the foundation of love and trust, and they promote personal distrust and create doubt in relationships, especially our intimate relationships. And you may begin to wonder, can I even trust what they are saying? And when trust dies in a relationship, intimacy becomes nothing more than performance, and soon distance replaces connection. And sometimes, though, a lie is never spoken out loud. It's just felt. See, children can sense them. Partners can absorb them. And over time, such lies don't disappear. Political lies, they fade away. because they are replaced so quickly. But these personal lies, as time passes, they become habits. And again, this is when we learn what to say, what not to say, what to feel, what not to feel, and who we must pretend to be in the presence of others. And if we're the ones telling the lie, we have to create a new lie to cover the lie. And it becomes a regular habit. Part of mine came from the fact that I had to be very deceptive to the people closest to me because of the work I did. I knew I was not being honest. I couldn't tell them where I was going or what I was doing. I couldn't tell them what I knew. So I hid them with a little falsehood here and there. But these falsehoods caused pain because they lost trust in me. I did not realize this until the truth about my own family came out, a lie that was told to me my whole life about my brother. When I was 7, I asked my mother and father that I felt incomplete, that part of me was missing. And my mother and father sat me down and told me about my brother who died just days after being born. As I got older, the story, it changed, but I really didn't pay attention. His death brought great celebration, as through his death he saved countless children, thousands of children that followed him. I was given firm details about how he died, how he saved others, and where his remains were. But at the age of 56, I learned the truth. I learned how he died, who he was. He was my twin. I had a right to know. I wanted to know who he was. And I am very proud of who he is because he's my brother. See, he had Down syndrome and he aspirated following one of his feedings. My mother had rejected him, and my father protected my mother by accepting the lies that she created. And over time, he would support her with them. Her embarrassment of my brother created an environment of misinformation. And initially, the lies were meant to protect my mother, her emotional state. But as the lie took hold, it affected other people around them. Me, for instance. The consequences is I lost pure trust in my family, in the family stories about who we were, where we came from. Can I even believe our history, our genealogy? I felt disconnected. I'm estranged from my family, and a family that I felt that I could rely upon. And it might seem small and it might be petty and insignificant, but this lie hit me hard. All I wanted to know was the truth about my brother. So in my life, in my lies, the fact that I didn't tell people what I was doing, when I should have said, I'm sorry, I'm deploying for national security reasons, I can't tell you anything else. If I was honest with that, that would be fine. But to tell them I was going to bomb holder instead of going to bomb holder, I found myself in Afghanistan, that's a different type of lie. And what would have happened if I had come under fire and I didn't return? Some secrets should be secret, but you shouldn't create lies in order to maintain those secrets. I learned through my experiences to be more honest and more caring. And I'm trying to make up with some of those by presenting and showing and sharing my life with my family, saying, you didn't know this, but this is where I went. Here are the photographs. These are the people I went with. These are my friends who died. It doesn't matter if you're protecting national security or a family's name. Every single lie you tell has consequences. Every interaction now, I feel cautious. Every silence, it feels like a wound. And they were not small lies. My lies, my mother's lies, the lies from the political podium. They all have somewhere a personal nature. And they're eroding trust from within. I understand why the lie in my family, why it was told, but the damage is done. And I understand, once again, that in my life during my 28 years, I had to exclude many details about my job. So there are two different types of personal lies. There's the one that you speak, the one that you tell. And the silent one that you don't tell, withholding information, is dangerous as. Is it the same as a lie? Some debate. In 28 years of military service, I excluded so many details about my job, where I was deployed, what I did. I withheld information about my life, the things I did, the things I saw. I was trained never to share too much. I was trained to protect information because of the greater cause. And because of that training, well, the truth, it doesn't matter about that. Because in the end, a lie is always a lie. So while I criticize the lies of others, I also must recognize that I do the same. We all do the same. And sometimes a lie is not about what you say again, but it's about what you do not say. This traps so many of us. And such traps, they build a lifetime of mistrust and betrayal. And this is the cost of lies and what lies do. In families, they cost connection and trust, but in societies, they cost us our freedoms. Lies are shortcuts. They're easy in the moment, but costly in the long run. They're not a form of, no, they are. They're a form of emotional and cognitive exploitation that distorts truth, values, and personal or social identities. Lies destroy relationships. Lies destroy policy. Lies destroy faith. But worst of all, they often go unchallenged until the damage is done. So next time that you're tempted to say what's easy instead of what's honest, remember that every lie we accept writes the next chapter for somebody else. We cannot heal what we do not acknowledge, and we cannot build a better future if it's built upon falsehoods. Truth is not always comfortable. It's not always comfortable, but it's the only thing solid enough to build life upon, to build a nation. My name is Reverend Michael, and this is the Open Road Ministry. And I want to thank you today for joining me. And in the next video, I'm going to explore the 4 pillars of manipulation and how they're used to deceive and control us. And if this message spoke to you, I hope that it earned a subscription, that you'll hit the like and notification bell and share this ministry with others to help us grow. And if you would like to support the mission further, you'll find a donation link below. Today, may you walk in peace and in clarity.